Test, test, test.
Test, test. Can you guys hear us? Oh, yes, we are live. There we go. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Mario Kart Central, where we will be watching the D3 semis featuring Eureka and Jasaal Team Suena Bien, also known as SA, today. It is Squidz back on the mic again, and I'm joined by CC. How you doing?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. This matchup is going to be super exciting. This is one that I've been looking forward to all week long. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, most definitely. We've got a great match here. The fight for the D3 playoffs went down to the wire at the end of the regular season between Eureka, SA, RF, and Team Seoul, with Team Dynamite being pretty safely secured in that playoff spot. And these are two of those teams that have had a pretty respectable season so far, with Eureka finishing week 5 with a record of 6-1-3, being 6 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses, and SA finishing 7-3. Now, of course, this is not the first time these guys have faced each other. This season, the last time these two teams did score off, it was actually SA who took the win by 62 points. So I'm sure Eureka are pumped and charged, looking for revenge this time around.
Yeah, and as for SA, they have been going into playoffs on a positive note. They ended week 5 on a 2-0 record.
Yep.
Like you said, 7-3, absolutely strong record. Their only losses being DY twice and once versus Seoul. And then, crucially, SA actually won their matchup against Eureka in the regular season by 62 points. So they had a pretty dominating win going into this.
Yeah, most definitely. And if we quickly just go over the lineups before we get into it, on the side of Eureka, I think it's a pretty standard lineup. We've got Gyarados being the star player of the team, showing up again today with a very round average of 100 points across all 10 matches. Very impressive, must be said. But one thing I also want to say is don't count out Cookie either, because Cookie, in my opinion, is an incredible runner for the team. Of course, we have Skar, the 200cc master himself here, providing his POV for the team as well. And on Team Jasaal, another pretty standard lineup, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think they actually are missing one of their strongest players, who on the registry they go by Madara Uchiha. I'm not sure who that is, but if I'm correct, I think they have Morsi subbing in for them today, who has played just a few matches this season, I think 3 or 4. And
yeah, that's exactly correct.
yes.
Madara being missing I think it's pretty crucial. Madara is one of their top runners on the team.
An Excite Bike Arena, which is actually quite interesting for potentially playing race number 1. Eyesight on the side of Eureka. Yoshi N64 Yoshi Valley is going to be the track for this first race. I got to ask before we do start, CC, who you got?
Who do I got? Well, my prediction is Eureka in 3, and I thought quite a bit about this. And I think that Eureka might just edge it out. I also think that each individual game is not going to be won or lost by more than 40. I feel like all these matches are going to be extremely close.
Well, let us hope so. It looks like most of Team Eureka are going to be playing on Orange Yoshi, which is going to make it pretty easy for us casters on the minimap. Starting out now, Skar having a green in 2. Eureka currently holding down top 2. It's looking like Jasaal are holding 3, 4. Skar gets a very, very good trail, though.
Yeah, that was
Raythun.
really nice. And we do see a mix of characters from SA, it looks like. Yeah, opting for some villagers, some Peachette. Having top spots on this track is kind of risky, in my opinion. The bagging spots are incredibly strong here, especially with some of the broken item sets. Split paths tend to mess up with the item probabilities a lot, and we're going to see who pulls it first.
Indeed, the blue shell is out. We see a few shenanigans here with teams dropping out. It is going to eventually target Team SA, and that is now back to Eureka having quite a lot of front presence, as evident as Team SA are going for the shock. It looks like 3 bills in play, no shock pull from what we can see just yet. I do think As
Oh,
soon as
there
I
it
say that,
is.
of course, the commentator's curse. The shock does come through. It must be said though, is that an orange Yoshi dodging up? There's no way that was a Eureka shock, was it?
I don't know. I think that might have just been a neutral shock. Dodging only one person on Yoshi Valley is pretty rare because dodges are
Hmm.
just flying all over the place. Like you said, three bills in play. It might have been used just to get rid of those bills to maybe have the advantage going into lap three.
You have to say it is currently top three for Eureka going into the last lap of Yoshi Valley. Horn in second from Skar as well. That is going to prove very helpful in case a blue shell does come. Bottom four right now for Team SA. Looking at the map, the
Oh,
blue
but
is
there's the
coming.
blue. Oh, but Scar doesn't horn
Interesting.
it.
It's because James has shrooms in first, so James is just fine. Would much rather keep that defense in second. As there is a member from SA fighting for third right now, and this last item set is going to be crucial. Maybe a last second shot being spammed. Everyone going to be taking cut. Scar hopping into the cut a little bit, maybe trying to do a little bit of damage with this horn, but that's at least top three. The horn goes off, trying to
Oh,
connect with Kusan, but it's not. Oh, Kazan, sorry, but
because
it's not going to connect. Top 3-5 secured for Team Eureka, and that is a very, very strong race for
that's
the Orange Squad.
That's incredible. I think Jasaal might have picked that to begin with. So Eureka getting top 3-5 on that track, especially with the potential for just all of these luck-based factors coming into play, is absolutely fantastic. And they're opting to go for Cloud Top Cruise for top 3-5. Very, very strong runner. Um, it's
I know
usually it's
why they've
usually
done that.
picked for these. Yeah, it's usually picked for top spots. There's not any shortcuts to catch up, and shocks are very ineffective. On the side of SA, we are seeing a trainbow pick, which makes sense.
Yes, I am really liking this Cloud Top Cruise pick for top three for Eureka, especially because that is Kazan in fourth, who was actually on Yoshi Bike, so cannot perform that super bounce. So I think with Cookie in fifth, that would potentially set up a top four run for the team. But we don't have to worry about that because we are going to N64 Rainbow Road, also known as Trainbow, which, of course, this most definitely favors Team SA in their spots. Gonna start with that higher coin count. Gonna draft up at the start of the race. Maybe shroom up to the front and just hope to run away.
Yeah, and that's the game plan whenever this track gets picked. You want your bottom spots with those coins to shroom up, draft up, maybe kill one or two of the enemy team. And for front spots, you can kind of hold it off with this smart steering strategy, using that to gain a ton of speed on the glider. But a lot of the time, it's not enough, as we do see Eureka still in top four, trailing somebody out. These drafts are coming in clutch for Skar here. And it looks like one SA is able to break in, but SA reading Skar out, and he is forced to bag.
Yeah, bagging is not exactly ideal on this track, but sometimes you just have no choice. As we swap now to Raythun, the team of SA, still Eureka holding down this top two with SA trying to infiltrate those two spots in 3-4.
And as we get into a very item interactive portion of the track, you really got to watch
Ooh,
out.
I think that was his teammate backing him. Very unfortunate. Maybe just wanted to get rid of that red. I'm not entirely sure. But Raythun is sent right to the back. Eureka holding down 10-12. Skar
Ooh.
actually getting a bit of a cheeky stop troll there.
And that's the thing, these bottom spots are incredibly vulnerable positions. You really have to know what you're doing to catch up. Morsi just kind of traffic coning Skar at the moment, preventing him
Oh.
from catching up, getting that double box. Triple reds could come in huge here, but triple greens just enough to hold it
Oh.
off. And that horn. Oh, what a play from Morsi.
Yeah, very, very good. That is still an O. I think that's 3-4-5 for SA. I do believe that is Gyarados and Cookie in top two. It is indeed 3-4-5. Kaguya, Morsi, and Matthias in 3-4-5. That is still a winning race for Eureka, though not that definitive. But one thing I will say is, considering that SA were they had the favorable spots going into that race, so Eureka getting a winning race off that, I think they'll be more than happy.
Yeah, how are they going to respond? And just going into race three here, I think that track picks from both teams are going to play a big factor in who gets to take the match because from my experience facing these two teams, SA is very strong on base game tracks, the original 48. Meanwhile, Eureka can really do a lot of work on those DLC tracks, especially
Yeah.
those later ones, waves 4, 5, and 6.
100% agree. I think it's kind of evidence of that with the Super Bell Subway pick from SA. Not a track you see all too often. It's good for those mid to low spots because bagging is definitely viable on a track like this.
And I think that's the game plan you kind of want to have going into this. You're going to see a lot of people slow down at the beginning
Mm.
to maintain their back presence and just maybe run up a dodge in the middle of the pack. Who knows? Let's see what happens here.
Indeed, we shall see. It's only 34 points right now, the lead that Eureka has, so it is more than doable for Team SA in 10 races. The start of this race is going to be very, very important because, as you said, we do see lots of people opting to slow down and potentially pull that shock as early as possible because there's just so much off-road in this middle part of the track to cut off. So if you dodge a shock and then cut all of this off, you just catch up so quickly, which is just why one of the many reasons why shocks are so good in this track.
Yeah, and that's exactly why you see the pack so spread out right now. Let's see what Raythun's play is. He's looking to slow down here, pull the shock, opts for the double set. Bullet Bill here is not what you want to see, especially since it's going to take him past those bottom 4 spots where shock can be pulled. So it looks like a lot of Eureka. Actually, it's kind of 2 and 2 back there. There's the first shock. Looks like Eureka dodging way up in the front here. A second shock coming out too.
That is crazy. And there is a member of Eureka just running away. I think dodge both the first and second shock. So they're going to be looking very pretty in first place for now as we go into lap 3. It is still SA holding 2-3. Someone's coming to Bill now. We're not entirely sure who that is. It is James, I believe, from the side of Eureka, going up into third. Top 2-4-5, sorry, on the side of SA. Someone going into a Bill in fourth there is quite crazy.
If we're going to see a shock, bullet.
If we're going to see a shock, it's going to be pulled, I think, at this set. So
yeah, exactly. They have to use this straight away. You need to get into the dodge. Fire, not ideal, but it's going to try to hit out Magias. So Shrooms in third, but gets redded out instantly. That is tough. Pulls another one, though. Has to dodge those. Oh, those bumps are pretty brutal. Smart steering, not really enough to save him.
And the boomerang from Jordan as well. A little bit of a panic boomerang. It is going to be a 1-5-6-7 from Eureka. 2-3-4 on the side of SA. Actually, kind of similar to the last race, to be honest. But to be honest, if I'm Eureka, I'd actually be a little bit disappointed with that. Having 2 shocks, first was practically secured. I think we can safely assume that after those shocks. But SA getting 2-3-4 behind it, that's maybe not quite what Eureka were looking for.
Yeah, with 2 shocks, you're very expected to win the race by a lot, but Eureka did still win that race by 2 points. So a win is a win, especially on a track that can have these flipped spots so easily. You absolutely have to take that. But now it's SA on the back foot here as Eureka is going for Rainbow 7. And like we were saying before, these DLC tracks are going to be incredibly strong, and they do get that Rainbow 7 pick.
Yeah, one of the strongest runners in the game. As we were talking about how strong shocks are in the last race on Super Bell Subway, pretty much the complete opposite here. Shocks aren't very common at all, and if they are used, they don't do nearly as much. So both teams, they're going to want to try and push up to the front as early as possible, get that front presence going, run away, and just pray.
But another aspect of this is surviving this spiral section, which is incredibly brutal. It is known for tons of lag trails and bumps off the track. Let's see. Oh, it looks like, everyone's just falling off the track. We're going to see who has survived. And it looks like a mix of spots here. Kazan is up here, James up here, but that red, it looks like Kazan is taken out, but Juan P up here trying to defend his top spot, but Skar's going to opt to defend his teammate in first.
Oh, that was a very lucky red skit for Skar. That was spelling certain impending doom, but Skar lives another day. The blue shell
Oh,
coming up for James. They're going to have to split up here not to take out Skar. But Skar now does have a stream in first in case another blue does come. Raythun is in last right now, trying to pull the shock, but currently is unavailable to do so with Gyarados back with him in 11th. So as far as Skar is concerned, he's just going to be running away with the Shroom. He might have to use it in case whoever that SA. Oh no,
there.
the random green! The random green from SA making a huge impact on Skar's race there. James is still here to pick up the pieces. Cookie is a little bit behind as well, but it is still SA holding down 2-4 with Eureka in 1-3. I don't think anyone is at shock distance anymore, so this is going to be a shockless race.
Oh,
More or
this
less.
boomerang could really do a lot of work here. That red has to go, but Skar gets hit out by the SA member behind him.
Yeah, so they are in first, but what else? To be honest, the pack looks very split. There was someone who died right at the end there. We couldn't see who that was. I'm wondering if this is still favoring Eureka, though. And indeed it is. Top 3,
Oh
5,
my gosh.
10, 11. Wow.
Eureka is really running away with this early on. I feel like my close match prediction is incorrect for the moment, but SA really need to figure something out here. That's not ideal whatsoever.
Yeah, Eureka have built up a pretty hefty lead already after the first GP. It's already 54 points. Now, 8 races is more than enough time to make up a deficit like that. But, of course, with this safety net now, Eureka are going to be feeling a little bit more comfortable as we start to approach the second half of this war number 1. They're still going to be picking all these runners, of course, being Cloud Top Cruise. Meanwhile, trying Animal Crossing again is this side of SA, and they are going to get it this time.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is a bit of a weird one in my opinion. You can run this track, and if you're Eureka in your top spots, you do kind of want to hold down some top spots. But at the same time, Shock is super strong here, and they might also opt to have at least 2 people in the back. It might be kind of like 2 different races going on at the same time. We'll see.
We will see indeed. We did not get the winter season, which would, if anything, make Shock even stronger on a track like this.
Yeah, the winter version of this track, that slippery terrain makes it so that shrooms, stars, and just dodging the shock in general makes it super powerful because normal driving is way slower. But spring is it's pretty good as well. Like the ramp layouts are not ideal, but nonetheless, shock just as strong here. It looks like we have Raythun in the back with T and Kaguya here, so that's our bottom 4 right now.
That is top 3-5 on the side of Eureka. So we were just talking about how strong Shock is. Can Team SA, can Jasaal team pull the Shock? Because it's looking like they're needing it right now.
Oh, but we're using our star incredibly early. They're hoping to pull another dodge, and that's a nice bullet bill.
I'm telling you, CC, if this Peachette in last actually has the Shock, then Raythun in particular is in such a good spot. The blue shell does come out for Skar in first, but Skar has a Shroom in first.
Oh, we could see Shock come now if they recognize that he's going to dodge his blue shell. Doesn't look like it. Oh, wow, but it comes after.
As soon as you mention it, the Shock is activated. Raythun does dodge in the bill, but top 3 are still pretty far. A Ghost in 4 is very good, but it's still top 3 on the side of Eureka going into the last lap.
Ooh, triple nana's not really great in this situation, especially since you have to catch up to the people in front of you to have any effect. This Ghost could be crucial depending on what you steal here, but with his teammates in front of them with mushrooms, I don't feel like using this here is the right play. Unfortunately, he kind of has to. Doesn't really steal the right items, but at the same time, Skar and a star in first.
How did he? Skar was always in the top, I'm pretty sure, even after the shock. How on earth did Skar pull that? Regardless, it's going to be a free first place. The back's on the line. I think that's a very, very good race for Eureka. That shock just did not do enough. Top 2 for, I say that, top 2 for 9, 10, 12 is a winning race for Eureka, but is on the more neutral side. But again, similar to, was it Super Bell Subway? SA are using a shock, but it doesn't feel like they're getting all the mileage out of it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there. I think the lead from Eureka was so strong that the shock wasn't really enough to save it, at least in full. Yeah, I think that Skar with the star in first situation was a ground star. It seems like it was dropped
Mm.
on lap 2 and no one really bothered to pick it up. So that's very interesting. It's not something you see every day in this game. But yeah, going into track picks, we have a Baby Park and a Daisy Cruiser, some kind of weird mixed tracks from SA. Kind
Yeah,
of,
this to me does not bode well. If oh my goodness. Well, we'll get to this in a second. But
here we go.
If Team SA are already losing their mental after what 5 or 6 races on War One of a best of three, then this is not boding well for them for the rest of the match because they are still in this war. Yes, they're currently down 60 points, but they can still win. A Baby Park is, as everyone knows, pretty much an RNG track. Shock is pretty powerful here, but there's no guarantee a shot can be pulled. And it's either Baby Park is either so at least in terms of Raythun with what Raythun is doing right now. Raythun will either probably get first or get last. I think that's just how this is going to go, to be honest.
Yeah, if you run on this track in first, it's pretty much a coin flip. Now, the strategy in first here is to pull that horn to dodge a blue, because there will be a blue with all of these like stars and bullet bills and potential shocks running around. The blue is inevitable. And he is able to pull the horn, but with potential like shocks, maybe double shocks coming out, it's not really that much of a secure first right now.
There is Skar in second right behind with Shroom and Red. Of course, Skar doesn't actually know that Raythun's holding this horn right now, so Skar has to be pretty careful as the shock does come through, and that looks like it has to be a Eureka shock. Every orange Yoshi and the villager to boot dodging on the map. And there's shock number 2 from SA, a counter shock from the Spanish squad. Now coming through as we go into lap number 7, the final loop around the track. Scar's going to pull triple shrooms. That's a very, very good pull. Raythun, meanwhile, is getting absolutely murdered. And what did I tell you? Raythun's either getting first or last, and Raythun is getting 11th.
This is a huge race for SA. I feel like they were cooking with this pick. Oh, but James gets first. I didn't realize that James was in first that entire time. He might have dodged both of those shocks, maybe.
There was someone who dodged that second shock in a bill, and I think that may have been James, which is, to be honest, kind of Eureka's saving grace there, because that second shock, that first shock was really good from Eureka, because it looked like no one dodged from SA, but I wonder if someone from SA dodged that first shock with shock in a ghost.
Yeah, it's a possibility. And yeah, that bill, that first place from James was enough to save that race from going super wrong. SA does win the race by 6, though, so it's the start to the comeback. They have another 56 points to make up to get this win here. And we see Daisy Cruiser coming out from SA and New York Minute coming out from Eureka. New York Minute, pretty interesting pick. It's definitely a shroom runner. Daisy Cruiser is a pretty hard runner, but James is in first, so well, it doesn't matter. I guess we do get the New York Minute pick here.
Yeah, usually you're not going to be keeping first on this track with all the drafts and the shrooms. I'm going to give a quick shout out to James right now. On pace for 140 points as we enter the second half of this war.
Such an incredible performance from James so far. Like, we've talked about Gyarados and Cookie being like the players to look out for, but you should never discount anyone else on this Eureka squad. There's a lot of talent here, and James is certainly showing that today.
100%. We will see if Raythun can pull a shroom. He does indeed. There is a red ahead of him, and he is going to take it. That's really bad, because this shroom was Raythun's way of getting up there to the front, and now that lifeline's gone. So Raythun is going to be playing this track from the back, and so is Skar actually as well. Skar is currently in 9th place, as we can just see ahead.
Oh, Morsi getting taken out as well. Yeah, you really got to watch out in the back. A lot of SA back here. They do have triple odds for this shock, and it is able to be pulled right around now, so we're going to see what they do.
Yeah, this minimap is not looking pretty. If you are an SA fan, it's looking like it's top 3-6, I believe, right now for Team Eureka. The fire coming out. And the blue shell.
Yeah, blue shell going to slow them down a little bit. These shrooms are a really good catch-up item here. But this red shell, yeah, you can't really defend against a red shell with shrooms
against
here.
A red shell. Yeah.
Eureka occupying top 2-4, and this is kind of what they wanted, but that shock is always the X factor. Let's see if it comes into play here. A lot of
Oh
SA still on the
no!
bottom. SA getting redded out again. Oh, this is really not looking good here. Last desperate attempt here, triple shrooms. No shock coming out quite yet. There's a lot of stars in play, but it's just not coming, Squidz.
It really isn't. And the trail for good measure, courtesy of James as well. That's going to be a huge race for Eureka, which is not good for Team SA. Top 2, 4, 5, 8. For Team Eureka, they're only going to extend their lead even further as we are now approaching the end of War 1 as we're only heading into like race number 9.
I think that is what Gyarados would call a New York Minute Masterclass, and
Indeed.
beautifully executed race. Now SA has 74-point deficit to make up for in the next 5 races. You really need to get some momentum in your favor here. Pull a lucky shot, command the front as much as you can, and Eureka is just doing an absolutely fantastic job putting a stop to their shenanigans with that baby park pick and so on.
Mm. Now, CC, what I want to know is, because it's a very interesting topic, when exactly do you call it quits on a war and try and reset your mental and focus for the next match? Because SA are down, as you said, they're down 74 points with, what, 3 or 4 races to go? That's a lot. Is it possible to make this comeback in 4 races? Yes, it is, of course. But that's
Mhm.
not going to be easy, as Eureka is showing. So, is it worth now SA just focusing on match 2, do you think?
I think with 5 races to go, I think you still have to have your head in the game. It's
Mhm.
entirely possible for them to come back. The race average that you need is not that high right now. Like 15 points here, another 15 there, like on average, you know. It could happen, but we're going to see on Sky High Sunday. Again, this DLC pick is probably going to favor Eureka as they are starting in top spots here.
Yeah, this race is going to be very, very important and determine how the rest of this war goes, in my opinion. Skar is going to be taken out pretty early with Kazan, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. Raythun was actually up in third, but I think Raythun actually just fell off on their own accord, so now they're back here too in 10th. So we've got both POVs back here right now. Raythun is not quite going for Shark, as Skar seems to be. Is that a Cooper in last? How have I just noticed that? On the
Was
team on
there
the
a
side of SA.
was there a disconnect or is that
No.
actually a character switch? I think it's just a character switch. I don't know, the mental on SA might not be all there if we're seeing a Koopa, very suboptimal character.
I suppose if they're going to be going for Shark, what does it matter? But I do see a bomb going off at the front there. I think from the side of Eureka, they are currently 1-3, looking at the map. But what else are they? It's not. It doesn't look like they're amazing spots. They're 1-3 and then a bunch of mids. As we see Raythun throwing the blue shell at Cookie.
Oh, this is going to be a huge blue, I think. If you can get your teammate into first tier, you have a lot of initiative on Sky High Sunday. It's one of those tracks where first is a dominant position. Oh, but it looks like Cookie ends up dodging the blue shell, so never mind what I said.
Ooh.
There's the shock. Definitely one from SA, as not a lot of Eureka are... Or maybe I'm mistaken? Skar dodging in a bullet there?
I'm not entirely sure myself. But one thing I do know is Eureka are suddenly holding down all the front presence. So you know what? I think you might be right. Is this? I don't think it's a top 4 just yet, but one thing I do know is SA are holding all of the back presence, which I think this
Oh
might
no,
just be
these triple
Kirsten's.
reds. These triple reds are going to take out SA's only top spot, but it looks like Skar accidentally reds his teammate, and SA gets first off that.
Now we'll see what spots they get behind first. Okay,
Oh,
two through
pretty much
five. You know what?
everything.
Oh, Cookie actually gets last. Wow, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. But I actually do think that was still worth it for Scar just to throw those reds. Even if he does take out his teammate, if he's also taking out one of SA's 2 front present spots, or like front spots, then I think that's 100% worth it, considering how much of a lead Eureka has and how much control they have in this match right now. This lead
Yeah.
is only really growing, if at worst stagnating for EA. So yeah, I don't know. This is looking pretty rough, CC.
Yeah, and I think at this point, unless you can really get something going now, I would start to focus on the next match. And um, one thing that I've been kind of thinking about is, are repicks between matches disallowed? I don't think we got a ruling on that. Like, I think it's the official rule that repicks between matches aren't allowed, but you can gentlemen's agree to allow them. I'm not entirely sure about that.
That
But we are going
does.
to see Daisy Cruiser. Hmm.
Yeah, Daisy Cruiser is a good runner. Did we see what team picked this? Because Eureka are currently 2, 3, 4, 5. So if they can get some drafts at the start of this track, which aren't exactly scarce, then they might be able to take over the front spots pretty quickly.
Yeah, we have seen SA picking Daisy Cruiser, so this might have been their decision. They are in first, which is good, but these drafts already kind of took them out of the race. Look at James in first with his teammates behind him, and these table boxes can be pretty crucial in taking out the enemy team, maybe getting some more drafts and items. It's a very close pack right now.
It is, and
Oh,
we
Gyarados
do
gets
see
taken out there.
Gyarados being taken out. Raythun's got to watch out not to be taken out himself by these bananas. He's having to break not to die. There's another member of Eureka. I think that was Skar being taken out. So SA are slowly but surely attempting to stabilize. It is still a 1-3-4 from Eureka, that said, with Kaguya holding down second but
Oh,
being redded out.
a trade, and it seems pretty beneficial for Raythun, but I'm not sure about the rest of the team. Raythun is taking first here with this Shroom. This is an absolutely huge
Ooh.
position to take here.
And defense behind the Shroom as well, if needed, as there is still James applying pressure on first place. That Cooper is still in last, so I think that is a bottom 2 right now for SA.
Yeah, we do have a lot of people in the back maybe trying to pull a last second shock here to get themselves back into it. It's a very mixed pack at the moment, though. Raythun holding down first with some of his teammates behind him. This could be the race that
Hang
they
on.
need here.
I agree with you here. Raythun's
At least a
slowing
top
down.
2. One of E dies on the stairs.
Oh no! Is that a top 3? It is.
Top 3,
It's a top
6,
3
9.
6. Okay. What seemed to be pretty damn bad is now slightly bad. The side of SA. This is the breath of life they needed to show us. Now,
Exactly.
Eureka are still most certainly in the driver's seat, but can we see an incredible comeback these last, 2 or 3 races?
Well, with that race, SA now has a bit of momentum in their side of the match here. Now, the track pick, Squidz, you know me. Waluigi Stadium is one of my favorites, and I'm not entirely sure about this pick from SA for top 3.
Yes.
Usually, Waluigi Stadium, you would want bottom spots. It is kind of a shroom runner, but SA might know something we don't. So let's find out as we do
Well,
not
it's not.
get that pick. Instead, it's Mushroom Gorge.
Yeah, courtesy of Gyarados specifically there, and I think that is more so to target SA with their 1 or 2 inward drifting players, as of course Yoshi Bike struggles quite a lot to take that gap cut right at the end, and this being more of a bagger than anything, Mushroom Gorge, with that absolutely busted item set at the middle of the track. So we shall
Exactly.
see. Shocks here are pretty common. And CC, let me tell you one thing. I think if SA are going to want to keep their hopes and dreams alive here for match number 1, I think they're going to have to be pulling a shock here.
Exactly. Now, if you are trying to get a ton of points in your favor, I don't know if a bagging track like Mushroom Gorge is the way to go, in my opinion. But we do see Raythun taking gap cut in first. That's going to secure his first for a little bit here, failing a little bit. But yeah, the shock is definitely going to come in huge here. Having first on this track is not an advantage whatsoever. So it really comes down to those items in the back.
Yeah, speaking of which, Skar and Kuki and Gyarados are all back here trying to pull the shock. Skar is failing to do so for now, but it would not surprise me if a shock does get pulled, at least here.
It
What
looks
was
like
Lars
there's three
holding
bills
there?
in play. I'm not sure, but they're not really using anything through the item set. It could have been the shock, or maybe he's hiding
The
it. Oh, it's a
blue.
blue shell, actually. Oh,
Going to clip Skar as well, which is not going to do him any favors.
minor
Actually in the Star
inconvenience.
now. SA are still holding bottom two, and none of them are taking the gap cut either. So
Oh, they
SA are
could
holding
actually
top
have
two.
it. They could have it. Skar looks like he's just trying to pull it to prevent them from using it, but ends up pulling a golden, which is a really bad pull at this set
What does
here.
SA do here, though? If SA are holding top two, and it doesn't look like they're really probably going to be holding many dodges, that's if they are holding a shock. Do they just
Tell you
wait
what, I
until...
think it's going to come now.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is. So get your top two across the line. Hope that your team can also dodge in the front and take the gap jump. Skar recovering a few spots, but SA getting that bottom two is not what you want to see.
Nah.
1, 3, 4, 6 for SA, but that bottom two is going to hurt their point total for sure. I think they might have held that shock just a little bit too long. I think if you use it much earlier, you give your team more time to catch up if you are holding those dodges. It didn't quite work out for them this time, though.
I think SA were maybe feeling it was kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. We did see bottom two were holding. They were bottom two by a landslide. They essentially had secured that bottom two, but they also had top presence as well. So if not many of them had dodges, then the only thing you can really do is try and call a neutral shock, which they tried to do at the end, as their top spots did cross the line. But if Eureka are going to be using all those dodges, then what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. It just wasn't really a prime situation, and that's the thing with Mushroom Gorge is there's a lot that can go wrong. Target shocks, not pulling the items that you need, and they did what they could. They did get a +6 race out of it. However, they're still down 60 with 2 races to go. You need top 5 at this point if you want to win. So it's possible now that they could just be focusing on match 2.
Hmm. And Waluigi Stadium does finally come out on the side of SA. This time, actually, you know what? I'm kind of still in the same boat as when you discussed it a few races ago. I'm still not sure about picking Waluigi Stadium for these spots personally. Uh,
It might be
but
the case that they are using the repick rule and taking this track off the table for Eureka, because I know for a fact
exactly,
Eureka loves this track.
they do indeed. So these last two races, the track picks are going to be very, very important and can affect how the next one or two matches can play out. We do see someone from SA right at the back opting to bag for shock. They're actually going to be holding bottom two for now. So they have to pull shock, because if they don't, then this war is just done.
Yeah, exactly. You need to use one early if you do pull it. That that Koopa Troopa in the back is uh, going to be instrumental here and maybe pulling shock or a blue shell. But SA do occupy the front. Oh, the blue does get thrown. It looks like Last did pull blue shell and Bill. So SA is going to get blued here. Oh, never mind. Morsi with the horn in 7th, breaking that blue shell. Pretty good play.
Oh, the blue shell actually missed and still did end up hitting first place. I
Oh,
do
I
think
must.
throwing the blue on your teammate is still the correct play if you're looking for a shock. Like sometimes you just got to pick your poison, really. It's either you hold the blue and then don't pull shock and you lose, or you throw the blue and hit your teammate and potentially pull a shock and win. So, but that is Skar holding a star in 5th, anticipating a potential SA shock and maybe even a Eureka shock themselves, because Cookie is back there in last right now. Oh, that red is brutal for Skar. So now he's going to be sent right back to the pack, still holding the star, but now in 9th, not nearly as good of a spot. No shock currently in play. Star Golden for Skar is not ideal, as Raythun is currently running away in first, but it is still Eureka holding down 2-3.
And that 2-3 is definitely going to be what they need. As long as they can hold at least one of those spots, they automatically win.
Yeah.
So we're going to see Skar coming up here. SA is still trapped in the back. So
Raythun is being taken out. He's being redded. The blue is coming. Will it reach him? This is going to be close. Missing the MT. Oh, but he's just
barely
That's-
crosses the line. But
Could've.
with Eureka in 2-3, that is curtains for match 1.
A shock as well. I think insult to injury for Eureka. 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. Bottom 3 for Jasaal, and that is it. It's going to be Eureka taking match number 1. This one wasn't particularly close. Eureka was just in the driver's seat for pretty much the entire thing.
Exactly. And even, like I said, with the track picks, SA being strong on the base game tracks while E being strong on the DLC tracks, Eureka has been winning most of these races, so it doesn't really look like that's going to matter all that much.
Yippee, says Cookie. As the win
Hooray!
is secured. Hooray. Now, yeah, these track picks are really interesting. I like this track pick from SA. They're trying to get rid of Piranha Plant Cove. Finally remember the name.
And it kind of looks like Eureka is taking the same approach, getting rid of Bowser's Castle, because SA is strong on Bowser's Castle. I know that for a fact as well. It looks like Piranha Plant Cove is going to come out, so SA does win that exchange.
Yeah, no Cove for Eureka for the rest of the night. That'll hurt them a little bit, but I'm interested to see what picks we're going to start to see for match 2 and match 3 if it comes to it, because we might even start seeing some tracks that we don't usually see. I mean, we've already seen Super Bell Subway, which is a bit on the rarer side, I want to say, but we'll have to discuss that when it comes to it, as Eureka are going to be enjoying a few victory laps, or victory sections, I suppose, in this case.
Yeah, exactly. And at this point, you're just using, if you're SA, I think you use this race as practice for match 2 and also to think about your game plan going forward. And back to your point about the best of 3 format right now, one of the advantages is a wide variety of tracks are going to be played, and you're not going to play the same 3 matches in a row.
Yeah.
If you're good on most of the game, then you're going to be good in a best of 3 format. And right now, Eureka is showing that they are good on most of the game. And I think if they keep this up, they're going to take this in 2.
It does sure look that way. Skar trying to flex a little bit with this shroom cut, but
Not
this
quite.
time around. Not quite. That is a very, very hard cut. The blue shell does come out. I think, looking at the map, a bomb does go off and does connect with at least one of SA. So it's currently Eureka holding down this front presence, if it means anything.
Oh, I thought that green connected on Raythun, but like bodies are flying right now on the track.
Hmm.
Well, we do see Eureka in top 2. Oh my gosh, Skar is getting bullied back here. He might want to slow down here. Yeah, that's exactly what he does. Kind of spying on them, although T is back there with them as well.
What does Kaguya have there in last? I don't think we can quite see. Skar did activate the star pretty quickly.
Not quite yet. A lot of dodges coming out. And there's the shock. That's definitely an SA shock. Look at how many of them are making their way up there.
Someone up in a bill there in 3rd. As Raythun does pull a ghost in 8th.
This invincibility is absolutely something you need for this ending section here.
Yeah.
It can be very spammy, items flying around as people desperately try. He opts to use it quite a bit early and steals a mushroom and is just going to shroom up as fast as he can, trying to get up there with his team. Eureka still in the top 2. They are not giving up anything against this team right now.
They are asserting their dominance quite comfortably. Wow, that bill pull is absolutely disgusting.
That's incredibly lucky. This is going to guarantee that Raythun gets at least like a top 4 spot here if things go according to plan here.
Calling a third right here.
Multiple sets of reds. Looks like only 5th place.
Yes, 5th. That is still there's 3, 4, 5 the side of SA. So at least they finished 3, 4, 5, 6 make that. So at least they finished somewhat strong. James finishing on 116, Gyarados 104 as well. Yeah, this wasn't particularly close. So SA are going to be hoping for a bit of a mental reset. I think they need it as we go into match number 2 in around 10 minutes time. But yeah, if we've got anything to go by, Eureka, they're playing very well right now. And yeah, plus 70, that's pretty decisive.
It is. The good players on Eureka turned up when they needed to. Everyone contributed in that win. And if you're SA, you really need to start thinking about how you combat a dominant win like that. You got a mental reset. You got to think about what your game plan is. What can we do differently? What did we do well? What could we improve? But they're not going to have a lot of time to think about that. So we'll see how they respond. But congratulations, Eureka winning match 1 with the go-ahead match in this best of 3.
Indeed. And I mean, if it comes to it, if SA need to make any roster changes or like lineup changes as well, then so be it. But of course, with match one now done and dusted, I think we're going to be taking a little bit of a break before match number two. We'll be gone for around 5 or 10 minutes or so. So make sure not to head on anywhere. Sit right there, grab a snack if you need to, grab a drink, go to the toilet, and we will see you very shortly. Ciao, ciao. All right, everyone, welcome back to Mario Kart Central. If you were with us just a moment ago, you would have witnessed Eureka take a pretty dominant win, I want to say, over Jasaal Team Suena Bien by, I think it was, 72 or 74 points. So they are now currently up 1-0 on this best of three for the D3 semifinals. And yeah, CC, welcome back, of course. I want to talk about how I like how that match, Eureka just had lots of the front presence, and then even though SA were pulling a few shocks, the shocks that they did have just didn't have enough impact, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly. So if one team has the advantage up in the front, then what you have to do is make sure that you have a plan to catch up and take those spots away. And most of the time, it's going to be dodging the shock. Now, there were a lot of shocks from both sides. I feel like both teams played the back pretty well, but Eureka had more of an impact with their shocks than SA did, in my opinion. And in the races with like two shocks back to back, it just didn't really go in SA's favor all that well. So I think what you have to do is not necessarily like try to command both. It's not that easy, but um, it's been very rewarding in this match to play up in the front and have those top spots. So if you're SA, I think what you have to do is command the front a bit better.
Mm. Of course, easier said than done against a team like Eureka who have such strong runners for their roster. I mean, we just saw Gyarados, Cookie, and James in particular doing such a good job at keeping those front spots. And SA just kind of struggled really to actually get anywhere near the front at the start of races, just getting knocked down to the back pretty quickly. It's a lot more than Eureka were. So I'm sure they're hoping to turn a new leaf, let's say, for War number two. And again, as this is a best of three, Eureka are now actually at match point. So SA need to win this match and then win the next match, which will be played in an hour if it comes to it. But Eureka only need to win one more match to secure a D3 final spot against the winner of Rainbow Fun and Dynamite.
Yeah, and hopefully SA is prepared for these upcoming potentially two matches. You know, you got a mental reset, figure out what went wrong, see if you can fix it. And yeah, that finals opponent is whoever wins the semifinals on the other side is going to be a very tough matchup. Those are two titans of this division. So there's a lot on the line right now.
Yes, most definitely. And as we wait for the final few players to join the room, again, I'll ask you the same question as as the last match. Who have you got? Because I know that you did say that you did see Eureka winning this in three games, and they'd all be
I
pretty
did say
close.
that.
But I'm wondering if your opinion has changed since that first match.
Judging by the way Eureka is playing, I feel like I mean, it is still possible it's Eureka in 3, of course, because there's still more Mario Kart to be played. But after that first match, it's hard to say. I think Eureka might get this in 2, judging by the way that they played.
Hmm. I think that's a pretty safe bet, but it is up to SA to prove us wrong. I think so.
Yep, and
Yeah,
let's not
hoping to see.
forget, SA is a very, very capable team.
Mhm.
It's why they're playing in this match as we speak, right? They made it this far. Um, and they really gotta they really gotta get their heads in the game here to win this match number 2, and I know that they can do it. So hopefully we get a much closer match here.
Yeah, SA, their regular season, I think the second half of their regular season, because they did finish 7-3. I'm pretty sure that the second half they won like 5 or 6 matches. Like it was quite insane. They were off to a pretty standard start, but then they just skyrocketed at the end. The last few weeks of the regular season. So We need a
Yeah,
bit more of
exactly.
that form from SA, as it looks like we are just about ready now to get started. I'm seeing 100,
Oh,
100
100
CC there. I'm really
CC. Be
hoping.
careful.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
okay.
really hoping that gets changed. Thank you, Raythun. That would have been quite funny. That would have been an interesting room reset. But with that out of the way, we are now ready to go racing for match number 2. Eureka up 1-0 on Team SA, looking to close it out. SA looking to bring it to a match 3.
Just a quick update, by the way. James will be our POV for Eureka this time.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and as we saw last match, James popped off. He did a fantastic job for their team, so we might be able to witness another masterclass from him if things go his way once again.
Ooh, some interesting tracks. I don't even think we saw these two tracks picked at all in the last match. It is
No, we
PPS
didn't.
on the side of SA and DK Mountain on the side of Eureka, but it's going to be the former, Piranha Plant Slide, or Piranha Plant Pipeway,
Yeah,
if you are
that tells
a
me
fellow Brit.
that tells me that they are, in fact, using the repicks between matches not being allowed. So, Prawn
Yes.
Plant Slide. This is historically a pretty good runner, and they do have a Yoshi bike in second, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's not
It's
a
not in
Yoshi bike. My
second.
apologies. They do have one on the team though. Piranha Plant Slide, really strong runner, especially if you can get up there early on. There is that crucial shroom cut at the end that you do have to play around, but with these thin corridors, um, you know, these like powerful aggressive items that you can use, and especially those like coin strats in first with from Raythun there. If you
Yeah.
can get all these coins, you are just breaking away super quick. Look
Yep.
at that, 10 coins already.
10
This is
coins.
yeah, this is exactly what you want to see.
Yeah. No defense as it stands, but it should be okay if he has a teammate behind him. He actually doesn't. Gyarados is going to be in second. Going to get the defense now. A bomb could be huge if he can communicate to Madara to get out the way, or Madara can just take out Gyarados the old-fashioned way. That works just as well. Keeping the bomb in first for
But where
when...
do you throw this away, though? Because he is trailing it, so this could be dangerous if something goes wrong, like lag, or he accidentally... You gotta find a
Ooh.
place to throw this away. Unless...
Unless... Yeah, Jordan's playing very, very careful right now
Oh,
in
top two.
third.
They could coordinate a play here to take Jordan out of third.
There it
Oh,
is.
look. But it looks like he just tossed it back to get rid of it and reduce any risk of it detonating by accident, so... Fair play. Another bomb in first, though.
Oh my goodness. Now, Eureka. I was just about to say Eureka are gonna need a shark, and what is that orange Yoshi in last holding? And I think now we have our answers. Gyarados and James are both surging up to the front to meet Matthias and Jordan at the front. Raythun is still up here, but Eureka are now holding a lot more front presence. Those bananas are very spooky. James, with this red, is going to look to do some damage, but the horn in response for Raythun is huge.
That horn plus James getting taken out there could be the saving grace. We do see them in 2-3. Second getting taken out by a boomerang. They do still have 2-3. This bomb is going to absolutely have to come in clutch here, but he has to use it to take out a defense. Oh, it just seems like SA is barely holding on here, but are they going to be able to win this race? Shroom in second is huge, especially with the red underneath. Oh, but he fails the glider. No.
Oh,
and gets hit by blue on landing. Oh.
And the green after the
gosh.
Shroom. That is a slam dunk last place. That's a bottom 3, at least, for Jasaal team. Oh, that was painful. 1-3-4 for Team Eureka after that shark. It just goes to show one little mistake, especially at the end of the race, can send you from... Well, I mean, Raythun was in second with a Shroom, I think, yes? So Raythun,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Raythun would have got first, but would have secured second at least. And just like that, 12 points down to 1. Just a single pity point for his efforts. And now Eureka, just like that, 16-point advantage after that very well-used shark.
Yeah, that costly driving mistake from Raythun, you gotta shake that off. It might have just been nerves or something, but after a mistake like that, you gotta shake it off and get yourself back into it. It was looking like a winning situation from them, and if they can replicate situations like that and execute to perfection, then they could start to make this now 16-point comeback early on here.
Indeed.
We do see Twisted Mansion, and I didn't see who picked this, but I'm guessing it was SA, as Eureka
Surely.
is occupying first. Shroom Runner, so you're definitely going to want to pick up a Shroom here and get to the front as soon as possible. After that, it is a pretty strong front-runnable track with some catch-up potential.
Yeah, let's not forget that Eureka can also pull quite a few shrooms of their own, as they did start in
Oh,
7, 8, 9, but those bananas are going to be potentially even more useful, as we saw Raythun get taken out pretty early. Lots of
oh,
blood and coins being spilled. Someone on the side of SA did get clapped in the cut there by a green. And so is that a bottom 5 from Team SA? I don't think it is. I do think Cookie is back there, but one thing I do know, CC, is Eureka are in the driver's seat already.
and I feel like that type of aggression is what you need to hold them off and prevent any of their game plan from being executed. What phenomenal plays from Eureka to get them stuck in the back early on. But the fact that they are stuck in the back could come back to bite them, as the shock is a factor they have to be on the lookout for here.
No shrooms. Not going to be the pull Raythun wanted to defend against that red. The blue is being thrown, and we do see a few SA members in the back trying to pull the shock, but similarly, some Eureka members as well, making sure they don't get up to any good. The good plant to take out Gyarados for the time being, though it is still top 2 as it stands for Team Eureka as the shock comes through.
That is definitely an SA shock. You want to get your teammates into set, and look at this. Raythun holding triple shrooms in 4th as he's catching up to the pack. Be careful with those greens. But these shrooms are going to pretty much guarantee his first if he can just get rid of these. Doesn't quite connect on Jordan, but it doesn't really matter. Oh, it might if Jordan gets this trail off on him. He's playing very aggressively here. He's forced to burn the shrooms to block the red, and James is going to hold first because of that play.
He is. These double reds, though, but the fire from Gyarados, here it comes, looking to take out this red and try to protect his
Watch
teammate
out.
in first. There's a
Ground Star!
ground star. I think someone has picked up behind him. A ghost being activated as well, as James is starting to run away, and Raythun is starting to fall. Maguias gets clapped as well by a back red, and now it's 4 shrooms in 10 is not really the pull you want. T does also get taken out. This is a very, very chaotic pack. Kaguya gets red in the cut, forced to take it tight. That's going to be
random
a
red is
top
pretty
2,
awkward.
4. Top 2, 4, 6 from Eureka. Wow. That lap 3 was pretty chaotic.
What smart, aggressive plays from Eureka to burn those mushrooms. I think they kind of knew that Raythun was holding those shrooms, and like James wanted to hold down first, his teammates are going to be like, okay, I got you, and then slows down with that red shell. What a fantastic play. Even if you don't hit him, sometimes hitting him is not necessary, as we saw.
Slowing him down is more than enough sometimes. And
Exactly.
yeah, Eureka are just playing amazing right now. They're going to be opting for Cloudtop Cruiser, which actually, yeah, was never picked War 1. I do know Eureka were picking it a few times, but they're going to try again in hopes to play it this time in match number 2. There is a rogue Sydney Sprint, though, and it is going to pick it.
Nice. Sydney Sprint. The spots are kind of mixed in the middle to the back. Now, this is kind of a drafter, which there's not very many drafters left in the game with new meta, but this is one of them. So it's possible that SA can draft up with their coin advantage, get some shrooms or some reds to take them out, but we'll see what the game plan is here. This was not the track they opted for, so they're going to have to adapt here.
Yeah, the drafts and the bumps are going to be coming in full force for this first sector.
Oh, get the draft, get the mushroom trick. Not ideal when you're in a draft, but bananas flying around. Yeah, the spots are very mixed right now. Jordan trailing this red is going to stop Raythun from getting up there quite yet. Oh, he's
making things very awkward for himself, and he does get trailed. I'm not sure if I agree with that shroom usage, and so back to last place, Raythun goes. Looking at the map, though,
isn't necessarily a bad position to be in last. The pack is still very tight. Shrooms are pretty useful, especially with lap 2's shortcut sections. Nobody in shock or blue range quite yet. It looks like Raythun does want to slow down a little bit. SA is also back here. Opposite take a single box, so he's not interested in bagging whatsoever. He's just going to get these shrooms, get back up there if he can.
Now, the spots are looking relatively mixed right now. It is at least 3-4-5 from Team SA, but a top 2. Wow.
Oh, those greens were so smart. After a driving mistake, throwing those greens up just to get Gyarados out there. The shock does come in.
That was an SA shock.
Yeah, and Eureka is still occupying top 2 with SA behind them. The glider is coming up soon. But they do end up taking those top spots. This is what they need, really.
And finally, we are seeing a shock from SA actually have what seems to be a pretty sizable impact. But let's not forget there is still another lap to go in this race. The
Blue Shell is out. I was just about to say this could come and ruin things. Cookie is in second, so he's ready to capitalize on this, unless they carried a Shroom. Ooh, James getting kind of hit out there. Triple Shrooms is okay in this situation. Cookie is in first. James shrooming up here. It looks like Eureka might escape this with another win.
It looked like it was a good shock, but just one by one, all of SA are falling. Don't tell me this is a top 4 all of a sudden from the side of Eureka.
It might have been
catastrophic. Don't tell me that's a top 5. Oh no, a top 5-9 after what looked like such a strong shock from Team SA. They just got dismantled one by one by Team Eureka, and that is soul-crushing.
It has to be. I think the nerves are starting to get to these guys a little bit. SA kind of making some questionable mistakes here and falling to Eureka's items pretty easily. I think it's hard to say, but I think Eureka might already be in their heads this match.
That is not what you want. If you are on the side of SA, man, this is such a huge lead already after just 3 races. Already 64 points. And again, let's not get it sick and twisted. This is still winnable. 9 races is more than enough time.
Exactly, but can you hold it together and get those winning races to catch back up? They opt to go for Grumble Volcano, which is very solid for their bottom spots here. There are quite a few shortcuts to take here, and with those coins, you can just kind of get up there, bump them out a little bit. Yeah, we'll see what happens. SA did want this for their bottom spots over something more traditional like a bagger or something.
Well, I suppose if you're down by so much, if you go a hard bagger, let's say like RMC being GBA Mario Circuit, or like, I don't know, like MC3, then is it really worth just putting your fate in the hands of God when you're down by such a huge amount, when you can instead just go a more comfort track that is still decent for your spots and maybe get a huge race that way? I do think that is better.
Yeah. In my mind, I don't think a hard bagger in this situation is the play. So SA might have the same mentality going into this. Pack is still very tight here, but do keep in mind that some of the item sets on this track are a little bit dodgy because stronger items can be pulled further up than usual compared to other tracks. SA do occupy a lot of the back here, so shock is definitely going to come into play this race, I think.
You can see the map. They are trying their hardest to pull it. And Raythun is going to be holding this car.
I feel like the pack is a little bit too spread at this point. Look at how far back they are. Cookie is already at the next set.
Oh, but a shock is used and Raythun does not dodge, and Gyarados is coming up in a build. That has got to be a Eureka shock, which again that is just so demotivating if you're a Team SA. If Eureka's holding quite a lot of front presence and they get a shock used in favor of them anyway, that is just ridiculous. SA are going to be so frustrated at that. But one thing I will say, Raythun himself is still in a good spot. Maybe not anymore, courtesy of Skar's fire forced into the build here.
I think that build was used a little bit too hastily. It's not really going to get much value out of it. But he does find himself in 6 with these triple shrooms. There is catch-up potential at the end. Gyarados does go down. They are 3-4-5, but that Nana, it just barely escapes falling off the track. Good play.
Just about, and a bomb does go off, does not connect with anyone. James is currently attempting to hold down first. No defense. James is being redded out of first. And so Raythun is now going to be using... Raythun and the rest of his team are going to be pushing up. Is that a top 4? from SA. It is indeed top 4-8 is exactly what they needed. Wow, this is crazy, CC. So far, it has been 2 races where a team has used a shock, and both times the opposition has got a huge race.
Yeah, what a phenomenal recovery from SA. It looked over after that first lap, but again, Grumble Volcano, you never know with those last few shortcuts. And SA, they did what they had to do. Top 4 is going to bring them right back into it. And suddenly they are down by less than 40, just like that.
Right, DKS is the pick for Eureka, and I wonder why they're picking that.
DKS or DK Summit, typically good for coins. Coins are very scarce on DK Summit, and having some early on is very good, especially since there's a shortcut not too far into the track. On the flip side, SA is picking SA, very appropriately here. They are very strong on SA. From my experience, they do have what it takes, and they do get their track pick. This could be the momentum shift that they needed to bring themselves back into it.
Yes, let us hope so, because of course we want it to go to a game 3 so we can watch as much Mario Kart as possible. But Eureka are in all of the mid to low spots, so if they can pull a shroom and take cut on lap 1, that could help their chances for getting a good race here. But of course, SA are going to be trying their hardest to deny that at all costs and try and keep this front presence and this momentum snowballing as we continue on war number 2. Red Shell in second.
Oh, gonna get taken out immediately. Yeah, and already Raythun kind of on the back foot here. We do see some of Eureka showing up here. That is T in first, Gyarados is up here, James is up here. And this is kind of what you were saying. Like, those shrooms near the beginning are kind of like, it's a really good way to get yourself up in the front early on this track. James with the motion glider here, trying to stretch as much advantage as he possibly can.
Wow.
Redding Kaguya, but getting hit out himself, but it is a winning trade for him.
Yeah, 1 for 1. And that is still worth it for Eureka because it does allow their first place to run away just a little bit and keep that first place. Triple Shrooms is a decent pull here from James. A bomb going off, wow. We also do have one of each team in the back, just in case a shock does get pulled.
Yeah, shock on this track in current day Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Shock is kind of weak here. There's a lot of gliders. There's this cannon one here. Is James still on motion controls?
Yes.
Did I catch that correctly?
I don't think James ever turned it off. Which, hey, if... Oh, no box there is quite unfortunate. The blue does come in for the side of SA. A bomb, however, does also go off and takes out a member of Eureka, so that's another 1-for-1 trade. And now, with the looks of it, Raythun is currently holding down first place, and I think the rest of his team may be following suit just a little bit. There's a lot of Eureka currently in the back.
But SA is prepared to catch back up. No one's in shock or blue distance at the moment. You just have to rely on your own skill, but that bomb is going to put a wrench in things, missing the box because of a ghost. Oh, you hate to see that happening. And James back here, SA... Oh, Raythun drafting up into first. We could see a pretty crucial 1v1 here at the very end. Raythun going to pull green. What does T have behind him?
I think it's a shroom. I don't think it's anything really that can do much damage. It was a shroom red, but yeah, just not quite enough. There was a member of SAN last holding blue to the benefit of Team SA, and that is going to be a 1-5-7, but that's not exactly what I was expecting there. I was expecting a much bigger race from Team SA. Eureka did manage to push up just in that last lap alone and occupy all of those spots behind first place, and that's going to be a winning race for them.
Yeah, the shortcut halfway through the first lap there put SA on the back foot for sure. I feel like if you're starting in the front on Sunshine Airport, you have to be able to play around that. And
Yes.
I think SA failed to do so. They did hold on to some of those top spots, but not enough, as Eureka managed to get everything behind first.
I personally really like Sunshine Airport for first, and then those high to mid spots in case so you can pull some of these shrooms. And then catch up with the rest of your team at the start of lap 1. But enough of that. We're going straight to Ice Outpost for race number 6. Eureka are still holding down a pretty comfortable lead of 36 points. No, actually, I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit more than that. I don't think his scores are updated just yet.
Yeah, not quite yet, but Ice Ice Outpost, pretty interesting. Typically, competitive players will see this track a lot in lounge formats, but in 6v6, I'm not too familiar with how this plays. I imagine it's very good for first, as I believe SA did pick this one, to let Raythun run into first, but Gyarados has something to say about that right now. You really got to watch out for bumps here. This draft is not really going to be that helpful, and off the track he goes.
That was not even Raythun's fault. It was the combination of that trick boost and the slipstream, the draft, and he just lost so much speed and he could not make it over the gap. So Raythun, once again, it was kind of a recurring theme here. Raythun is being forced to play most of these races from the back. This fire, though, was doing a lot of damage from James. Wow. Taking out lots more SA members.
Pretty interesting. We do see a lot of Eureka back here. That fire, he was just trying to waste that, I believe, and accidentally got his teammate there. But it looks like SA has a lot of spots behind first, but first is broken away.
Nice map.
And
Blue
this
shell.
golden, not really going to help things.
T is currently holding Blue Shell for his teammate. I'm not sure who that is in first. I think it might still be Gyarados. Gyarados, as we saw, the shock does come through for Team SA, and to be honest, one thing I will say is most of the dodges were pretty far back, so I'm not entirely sure how much influence this shock will have. But one thing I do know is they are now holding down 2, 3, 4, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 maybe. And Gyarados is looking like he is alone up there.
Yep, and Gyarados is alone. Jordan hanging on to a star here for the end. SA are going to have to hold that off and just hang on to whatever spots they can here. Raythun is starting to shroom up here. Jordan in the star. Ghost's gonna maybe steal an item.
I think
Gyarados is down.
I think he stole Gyarados' green as he was getting redded, which is absolutely crazy coordination from his team. Maybe it was that, maybe it was like, who knows? But what I do know is it's a top 2, 4, 5. The 10-12 does nullify a little bit. However, that is great for Team SA. Great shock usage and great end to the race to take Gyarados out once and for all and claw back some of this deficit.
If that Ghost was what took Gyarados out of first because of a defense steal, then that is a massive point swing for a Ghost pulled in 6th. Oh, you gotta feel like you were robbed of that first if you are Gyarados.
I mean, it had to be, right? Raythun used the Ghost in like 6th or 7th and took a green shell. I'm not really sure who else would have a green shell, maybe 2nd or 3rd, but as Raythun did use the Ghost, we did see Gyarados spin out on the map after the glider right before the last corner. So, yeah, as you said, absolutely gigantic swing. Maybe it will end up mattering and actually being the decider for who wins this match. Of course, we don't know, but 30 points now. SA have done a really good job of making this comeback. We do still have half the war to go, the last 6 races, as we do head into Wario Stadium.
It seems like SA has adapted to what E is throwing at them here, and they get their front-running track pick. SA, like I said, pretty strong on the base game tracks, and I don't think Wario Stadium is an exception to that rule. As we're going to see them starting off top 2, 4, 5. Although mid spots don't really have that much of a disadvantage here. They have to hold them off. I think we see Jordan in first already. Oh, but he does get taken out there. And it looks like... Yeah, it looks like SA is going to hold down at least some of those top spots to start.
To start, yes. But again, with all these shroom spots, how many of Eureka are gonna... Oh my goodness, that was absolutely crazy. I don't know how Raythun's still alive. Just about still swinging, but Triple Shroom's Fire is actually an okay pull for Raythun here. Looking a little bit low on the coin count. His teammate Kazan does have triple greens and is going to try and take out T with the looks of things in 3rd place.
Single fireballs here and there to try to take out Skar. Not really going to do so.
In fact, all it did was it just took out his teammate, and that horn as well, just about not connecting. The banana is going to be the sword and the stone, though, and Skar is out. And that is now top 2, 4, 5 for Team SA, and I think Eureka know what they need. They need a shock.
Yeah, and they are in distance for it, and the blue shell, both of which would be able to help them catch up. Oh, what a cheeky green from Raythun there to hit Cookie. Just going to set him back a little bit, get rid of some of those coins. And yeah, that slight breakaway from them is going to help them win this race for sure. Blue Shell does come out, but let's see how much this ends up mattering. We do see Raythun goldening up here, uh, pulling triple shrooms. There are plays to be made here, but there's a lot of boost panels coming up here. These shrooms not too useful yet.
Yeah. Right now, top two are absolutely gone. If a shock is going to be used, it has to be used now. And I don't think it's coming. Half of the room are in dodges, including last place, who would likely have the shock. So Raythun is in a star of his own in fourth. Triple shrooms, triple reds.
These
Skar
triple
only
reds! Oh, but
with
the plant is going to set him back. Yep. Yep, he gets
Wow.
chomped all the way back. These triple reds are not as effective anymore. Maybe hitting Gyarados on the line. Last second shot coming in, but I don't think much changed there. SA gets top 2, 5, 8, 9. Another win for them despite all of that chaos. You will gladly take that if you are SA.
Yes, you will. It is not a huge race, but it is a winning race regardless, and they are going to keep on trucking. And they are starting to climb back. Now, almost only 20 points, this deficit. Don't forget, this deficit was, I believe, 64 points after 3, and now it's only 22 points after 7. So they have done a very, very good job indeed. But I'm sure they don't want to stop just now.
No, and if you're Eureka, you're starting to feel the pressure. You're starting to let them get into your heads a little bit. It was the other way around to start, but it looks like SA are finally, turning it around after the first few races of this game too. We do see the DK Summit pick come out from Eureka, which I do believe they are advantaged here, but the spots are pretty mixed, so we'll see how things play out this first set.
Yep, shock on this track. Very, very common.
Absolutely.
So it would not surprise me if a shock in this race does determine the outcome and the results.
And if you're not familiar, this item set that they just passed is a very crucial one. Cannons in this game tend to mess with item probabilities a little bit, so where you can get very powerful items and dodge items much further up than intended. So that is probably going to be where a shock is pulled if there is one this race. We see Raythun doing a very good coin bagging strat here. He's going to be in the back for his team. Again, not a bad position, especially when the shock can save your race here.
Yeah, I think James is also currently now in last as well. Was about to be, as I believe he just got hit off the track.
Yep, there he is in last. So both our POVs are back here. So we're going to see who comes out in the bagging war here. And, pretty interesting to watch. See who gets the luck and who's slowing down. So it's both teams in the back evenly here.
The top 2, 4, 7.
Golden shock!
For SA, and SA also pull a shock. But what we need to know is, does James have one as well? I don't think he does. So, SA, hang on.
Okay, but they do use it.
I was waiting because it was entirely possible James actually pulled a shock of his own there, because I believe he actually got shocked after he passed the item set in a star. But the shock is used for SA, and I'm pretty sure they tried to target shock lots of Eureka, but to what effect, CC? I'm looking at the map right now. All I'm seeing is a lot of Eureka at the front. James does get taken out, which does suck a bit for him.
Oh, there is a blue shell in play, though. The shock didn't really do much to sway the spots, but this blue shell definitely will. Look at all the Peachettes behind this first about to take over for him. And James, with this Star Ghost, is going to... I don't know, if there's a second shock that comes into play, it doesn't look like there is one quite yet, so... Not ideal for James right now. Boomerang, triple shrooms, not what you want to see. SA are up in the front still. Can James do anything about it? Triple greens from his teammate there. You gotta be careful.
Just could not get away in time. And I do believe SA are still holding on to top 2 just about. Or maybe just first. It is just first. But it is still going to be a 1-3-5. But then a 9-10-11 as well to boot for SA. That's going to be, again, another slight winning race. They are slowly but surely, race by race, starting to come back here, CC.
Yeah, and I am beginning to wonder what the purpose of that shock was. It seemed kind of not like randomly used. I think they did get their top 2 after the shortcut in the hopes of target shocking Eureka. Yes, but as we saw, Eureka just took over first, and luckily SA did have that blue shell, but I don't know. It wasn't really used to a great effect.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we would have to see more closely, like, I guess, at the front of the pack to see why that shock was used, but it did look a bit strange how Eureka did have more front presence than before after the shock. Maybe it was good on paper, but just maybe not the best execution. Who knows? But it did work out in the end for Team SA. They were still able to aggress after the shock. And Sherbetland is actually going to be the pick for race number 9 here, I believe.
Yep, and this was a SA pick. They do have first, third, and fifth, which are pretty strange starting spots here, but there are a lot of slippery sections and shortcuts to come back, so maybe their 9, 10, 11 will see some benefit here. But for first, I'm not entirely sure. We're going to have to see what the play is from them here.
You have to see if anyone does get taken out. Someone did on the side of Eureka get taken out. Got taken out pretty quickly. Cookie with this red is looking to do a little bit of damage and threaten any member of SA that gets close to him in first. And James is going to be forced to bag a little bit. It's currently bottom 3 for the side of Eureka. Bottom 4 make that. Maybe even bottom 5. But, oh, hang on a second. What is going on?
They are dropping like flies. SA is doing fantastic job getting their team up there, but there's no one from SA in the back. Eureka have the shock advantage and the blue advantage here if they're able to pull either one of those things. Shock definitely more effective.
Yeah, like Super Bell Subway, this track, once you use a shock, you can cut off so much off-road in the second half of the lap.
Yeah, well, let's see what James is doing. He is forcing them to yield to him a little bit, taking over fifth, but that's not really much of a big deal for SA as they still are top 4. Those back greens are very nice. Oh, this red. James is putting in some work up here, but top 3 is starting to break away. Raythun kind of traffic coning James a little bit. This bomb, not very wise.
Yes, screw that Freezy in particular.
Yeah, exactly. There's the shock. And the blue shell. They pulled both at the exact same time, and it looks like Eureka is going to reap the rewards. Down goes SA from first as James and the rest of his team are catching up very quickly here.
Yes, James definitely called that shock to cool top 4 after the first set. Putting the plant afterwards was a bit awkward as his team were coming up behind him, but it is now top 2 being held by Eureka. The fire being thrown from James is not going to do too much for the time being. Is that a second shock from T? I think it is. It is. In 6th, it's not being used.
They're opting to hold it now.
There it is.
They waited until Eureka was across the line, and James kind of dying here, but it's not really going to matter too much.
Wow. Top 3, 5, bottom 2 for Eureka. Wow, that second shock. Yeah, I just don't think they knew what to do with it. I suppose if they didn't have any dodges for that second shock, which would make sense after the first shock, if they were holding all the front presence, then it is best just to hold it and then use it right at the end. So the user of the shock, which in this case was T, can maybe get a cheeky spot or 2 from it. But yeah, James got the short end of the stick, unfortunately, being redded by someone, I think, as soon as the shock came into play and losing a couple spots himself.
Yeah, that shock might have actually just been pulled last set. There was enough time for it to happen, and pretty lucky pull from him, but I think because James ended up getting taken out on the line, it wasn't really too much of a benefit. But I could be wrong, as they did get top 3, 5. But that bottom 2... it means that they don't win the race by as much as they could have. So, of course, SA are still in it, only down 34. They have shown the ability to come back when the going gets tough. Let's see if this Ninja Hideaway pick from Eureka can seal it for them.
Yes, Ninja Hideaway is a track that Eureka are very, very confident on. Skar, I know in particular, loves this track. So I'm not sure if Skar did get first. I didn't quite see that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're picking this. The Nisk on this track is very strong, but does require quite a lot of practice, and it's very easy to fail.
If you're any of these players, I think you do have the practice necessary, especially if you are Eureka. James getting bumped off near the beginning there. Not exactly what he was hoping to see, but it's just opting to take it slow near the beginning. Ooh, at the same time, we do see Raythun in first, almost getting hit by that, but I think it was a little bit of coordination there so that he wouldn't. And then, as you were just talking about Skar, he's already in first, and then Raythun gets taken out behind him. So Skar's going to have a pretty good front run going here.
They are, but what else do they have, though? Because I'm looking at the map right now, it's looking like at least a bottom 2.
Oh,
Maybe
but a
even
few
close
people
to a
getting
bottom
taken
3.
out there.
Close to a bottom 3 for Eureka right now. 2, 3, 4 for Team SA. So we know
Yeah,
Skar
and now
is still
they're the
holding down
ones.
first.
Yep, and they're the ones that are going to be able to pressure Skar up there. If they can coordinate some red shell plays here, they could take him out. Oh, but... Oh, I thought Skar might have gotten taken out there, but I was mistaken. It looks like it was just mini-map lag. But SA still 2-3-4. Not really much happening here. SA are now in the back, so it all depends on where the items land.
Yeah, James is currently holding a star in 9th and is holding it, I think, just in case the team does pull a shock.
A couple of bills in the back.
Going to be saving the Shroom for the shortcut here on lap 3. Going to whip out triple greens afterwards. We're not sure who is behind Raythun right now. These greens could do a bit of damage. It is his teammate, so it is still 2-3-4. Skar is still holding down the 4 in first. Magias is going to be praying to chain these reds.
Yeah, there's not really much Raythun can do. You just kind of have to hope that your teammate gets lucky. These triple greens are not going to do anything. They're just going to be thrown away here. And Blue Shell is out, but it could be too late, as Skar ends up crossing the line.
That was Eureka holding the blue shell for their fellow teammate. Skar holding down first. And it's going to be SA with 2 through 6. Skar
2 through
just having
6
no
and
support.
10th. Yeah,
Wow.
his teammates just kind of fell behind early on.
Yeah.
SA did a great job holding those 2-3-4. Like, you can let the enemy team have first if it means that your middle spots are safe, and I think that's the play that they ended up using. And all of a sudden, they cut their deficit in half. They're only down by 18. This is winnable for them. Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, this is very impressive from Team SA. They've done such a good job these last 6 races. And they are right back in it now. Eureka do still have a slight lead and are in a favorable position with 2 to go. But
SA does
close
get
to an even game now.
Yep, and they get the Electrodrome pick, which is a track that they are known to be fantastic at. Oh, this is going to be close. If SA pulls out a winning race here, it is Eureka's war to lose.
Is this potentially the most important race of the war so far? If Eureka can get a winning race here, then they're looking really good to close out this best of 3 D3 semifinals in just 2 wars. But if SA get a really good race here, then it is everyone's game going into the last race.
Yep, so on Electrodrome, you usually want to pick this track for anti-first strategies here, because look at all these drafts coming out. This is exactly what you want if you are picking this track. And Shrooms here are especially powerful because of the last cut, which saves a lot of time.
Ooh. 2 members of SA being taken out. Wow, that back banana from Skar was amazing.
Oh, incredibly smart. There's... Oh...
I'm going to be honest, I didn't even know what the hell was going on there. There was so many people getting hit. I know Skar and Raythun are kind of duking it out in the mid spots as the pack is starting to spread out just a little bit now. SA are still holding 9, 10, 12. That is Skar back in 11. 1-3-4 right now for Eureka.
SA does have a lot of the odds for the shock and blue. Ooh, that ghost was a little bit annoying for Raythun, but not too bad. Eureka holding down 1-3. They're going to have to do something about this. If Eureka gets first, that could spell disaster for them. Oh, but the shock does come in.
It's a Eureka shock, and I believe Cookie actually jumped off the track to dodge, and dodge he did. The blue shell does now come out, which could make things a little bit awkward for Eureka, and it looks like it might do.
Yeah, it targeted onto Cookie. SA is going to take back first, and Raythun here is going to shroom past both of them. They're going to occupy top 2.
Ooh.
Wow, what a play.
These greens from Kaguya. Raythun's going to opt just a shroom ahead, which I think is fine.
fair play. Get the teammate with defense behind you so that you are protected. And it looks like, as well, SA is occupying a lot of those middle spots. If they can just hang on, if they could just avoid one more blue shot or a last-second shock, they could bring this all the way back to an even count going into race 12. Let's
It's
see.
looking good. Raythun does get taken out first, I think, by Gyarados. His defense does get ghosted. Shroom triple greens. Yeah, the greens come out and do connect with a member of Eureka. But who is going to be taken cut here? Gyarados does Shroom into first and secures those 15 points. 2, 3, 4 for SA. 1, 5 at least for Eureka. 1, 5, 6. 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's actually I think that's pretty even. Maybe a slight winning race for Eureka. But yeah, one thing's for sure, Eureka do have the advantage heading into this last race, but it's close.
Yep, and actually SA ended up winning that race by only 4. But it is a win, which means that they have less points to make up, but this is do or die for them. They have to make up a 14-point deficit. They have to win this race by 16 or it is curtains. Now, this is interesting. Rosalina's Ice World is not something I expected SA to break out in a time like this.
No?
In my experience, no. This is not something that they usually opted for. They are occupying 2, 3, 4, which means that Eureka is in first. And as someone who has put a lot of time and practice into Rosalina's Ice World, first is very, very good to have. So I'm not sure the game plan. Again, maybe SA knows something that we don't. They do get the track pick. Who is going to take this game to?
Only 14 points in it. So a plus 16 or more is needed for SA to bring us to a match 3. And of course, in the rare occasion we do finish with a tie, then an extra 4 races will need to be played.
It is a pretty rare scenario, but not out of the question. What's going to happen in this beginning portion here? Gyarados is in first. This is the last player you want in first on this track. Gyarados is known to be very good at this track, but Kaguya looks like he's contesting very well here. Oh, it's very close, and Raythun gets redded out. That's crucial.
That is crucial indeed. Because if you're in the back of this track, there aren't the only shortcut on this track is at the very last corner, which doesn't even save all that much. Shocks on this track can do a bit of damage, but as we all know, Shock is far from guaranteed to be pulled, so...
Exactly, and nobody seems to be breaking away right now. We do see James getting into second here. Kaguya behind him doesn't opt to take him out. It's possible. I was expecting him to maybe rat James out here. But this top 2... Yeah, this top 3 is absolutely massive. SA needs a shock, in my opinion. It's really hard to catch up on this track outside of that last shortcut.
And even with that, Eureka there is a member of Eureka in the back. So I'm not sure who that is, but if they pull shock, they're just going to be calling it neutral as much as possible. Just make sure none of SA can dodge and use a shock of their own and potentially
there's a lot of people in dodges in the back. I don't think shock is in play. There's too many people in the back in dodges for it not to be used. It's possible that it could be pulled here. They are in range. There are bills flying around.
They're stopping. That Daisy in last SA is stopping, trying their best to pull it.
James with a bit of a driving fail.
Uncharacteristic driving fail. Luckily able to recover with the... There's the shot!
There it is!
The shot comes through, Cookie up. SA, there's members of SA coming out. The blue as well. Who's that going to target? That is going to target SA. Raythun is still in the back. The member of SA does get blued. Cookie also gets
Cookie gets caught in the blue.
This is do or die right now. James with a huge green.
And that's going to do it. Eureka has too many top spots.
I think, yes. Yep. I think you might be right. There's a lot of Peachets in the back. That shock was their lifeline, but it's just not going to be enough. Top 2, 4, 5, 6 for Eureka. GG. That's all she wrote. Eureka wins this in 2.
Wow. What an impressive effort from SA, but at the end of the day, Eureka barely holds on to take Game 2. Congratulations to them. They are moving on to Division 3 Finals, and they are waiting to see who their opponent is. It's either going to be Dynamite or Rainbow Fun on the other side. What a phenomenal performance from both teams in this second match.
Yeah, Eureka just had such a huge lead after those first three races, and while SA were they were looking really, really good to maybe even pull the upset after that, it just wasn't enough. And man, CC, my heart stopped when I saw that shock be used by SA at on lap 3 of Rosalina's Ice World, and I was looking at the map and all of the Peachettes and the yellow Yoshis that were dodging up. I thought that was it, but just I think after the shock, the blue shell, and then a couple more members from the team just being taken out by stray reds and greens, it just wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, despite everything, despite the fact that they got what they needed to catch up, Eureka barely hung on. And I think that one dodge from, I believe it was either like James or Cookie at the very end, uh, that's what put a stop to it. And SA just getting hit out at the very end there. Oh, you gotta feel bad, but you also have to feel proud for making up that much. That's impressive. That's a very impressive showing from SA despite the result.
Yeah, that first match was definitely a slam dunk for Eureka, but despite the score, it ended up being a plus 40 in the end for Eureka, that second match, 512 to 472. But that most of that was actually in that last race. It was actually really just those first three races and that last race, because race 4 through to race 11, SA were easily the stronger team there. So, but of course, regardless, well done to both teams. Eureka taking it in 2, as you predicted, I think. Actually, no, you predicted initially it would be Eureka in 3. So you were kind of 50% right. Uh, but
Yeah, I did predict Eureka would win, but not in the amount of games that I thought. It looked like SA was going to pull it back, but to
that
no
was a
avail.
that was a good set, though. That was fun to watch. And as you
Yeah,
mentioned, we will see who Eureka faces. They'll be facing the winner of Dynamite and Rainbow Fun, I think maybe sometime next week or a couple weeks' time.
yep. So as it stands right now, Dynamite and Rainbow Fun play their set next Sunday. And then the following Sunday after that will be the finals in Division 3 between these two teams. So Eureka is going to have a lot of time off to prepare.
Yeah. Well, that being said, I don't think we have any announcements um, from us to you that we have to tell you guys about. So, if I'm correct, that's just going to be us done. CC, let me just say, it's been a pleasure casting with you. It's been awesome. It's been really,
Y-
really fun watching this.
Yeah, this has been super fun and entertaining. Thank you, Squidz. Pleasure to be here.
And of course, thank you guys for watching as well. And for anyone who's still playing in MKU, whether it be final semis that have been rescheduled or finals next week or in a couple of weeks, of course, best of luck. But that's going to be us out. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Peace out. Sad. Oh, all right.